U.S. intelligence agency mind control.
It was a mystery that dominated news headlines.
This is how to set this up. This is such a good opener for this story.
But yeah, like I like when I was, look, probably around that same time, 14, 15, 16, that's what I was watching of Steven Crowder's. And then I sort of started watching the show. I think when the guy left his show is when it really started going downhill. What do you call him? Not gay Jared or something?
Jared. I mean, it was already pretty bad, but
yeah.
I think he was I think a lot of the Republican commentators really suffered from COVID. It really, really killed any coverage that they, and I mean like masking of their views,
yes.
COVID made a lot more things rise to the surface.
Oh, for sure. And I still like thinking back about it, I still put Charlottesville as that sort of that moment that if you didn't step away then, when these people were like, nah, these people, they're fine. They're not bad people. It was just the bad ones, right? If you didn't step away then, probably a concern. And those are the people that I guarantee were also the ones that are now grifting for Russia. So I guess we'll see.
Lines back in 2014, a dead bear cub found in Central Park.
The only time I think I ever watched Elijah Schaffer was when I was watching Sydney Watson.
Well, I found Elijah Schaffer because of the George Floyd protests, because he was filming them and like distorting footage and stuff. And that's how I first found him. So it was immediately negative, because I was like, I literally did research on the guy that he tried to act like was jumped, and it was this dude who literally attacked a child with a machete.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, what a great dude.
And like he was fine. He was fine. He was like rising to his feet, right? So they kicked the shit out of him, right? But he was fine, right? No injuries for real. Like he's gonna feel it the next day. He's going home, right? As he's rising to the feet, some white kid not involved with the defense of this kid who he tried to attack with a knife ran up with a rock right as the guy's rising to his feet and hits him in the side of the head with a rock at full speed. And he's carrying a box of shoes. A white guy who clearly did not have any interest in what was actually going on, who came out just to get some shoes, decided to go in and then like all they did, and then the kid, right? The kid who he attacked with the sword hits him with his skateboard at the end too, right? Which is like, if anyone's allowed to hit him, it's that kid, even if he just got hit in the head with a rock. And then they also took the guy's shoes and his wallet, right, when they jumped him, which is like, you would hit the kid with a machete, right?
Yeah.
But Elijah Schaffer pushed it as this guy just died, and Trump even said it the next day.
Amazing. Wow.
Because it's a brutal hit. I mean, like if somebody was like, that guy's dead now, you would be like, oh, okay, I believe it.
Do you remember? There's a big one that I remember. It might have been George Floyd protest. It might have been something else. Anyway, there was a guy that was just talking in a circle of people. Someone comes over with a bike lock and a sock and just whacks him right on the top of the head. Did you ever remember that video? That was probably the most fucked up thing I've ever seen.
What was this?
Like at a protest, some dude just randomly came and like hit a dude in the top of the head with a bike lock in a sock.
And he was
just like,
right?
Huh?
He starts like bleeding from his head, right?
Yeah, probably. It was like a taller dude talking in like the middle of a circle. It was fucking crazy. I'm just like, why the fuck would you do that to somebody?
I don't know.
Just psychos.
decade after police opened up an investigation into the gruesome find, independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. confessed it was a mystery that dominated news headlines back in 2014, a dead bear cub found in Central Park. Nearly a decade after police opened up an investigation into the gruesome find, independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. confessed he was the one responsible all along.
A woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van.
In a video posted to X, Kennedy says he was going falconing when he came across the roadkill and intended to use it for meat, but ran out of time and ditched it in Central Park before heading to the airport later that evening.
Doubt.
Along West Drive.
And then they all clap.
Wait. So his cover story is, I picked up roadkill to eat, but I ran out of time, so I had to throw it out in the middle of the park.
Hidden in the middle of the park.
But that's not even my issue with the story. The roadkill part is more of my issue with it.
Few drivers remember the grisly scene.
Also, I was just reading, granted it is the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, but they said that basically because of Bondi, Wakeley Church, and Sydney University, and then an attempted terrorist attack apparently on an New South Wales MLA.
Yeah, I mean, he said it himself that he has skeletons in his closet, right? And it was only not that long ago we found out that he was raping the nannies, and he was like, I never said I was a good person.
Basically, it just says that the threat has risen to greater than 50% in 12 months. I'm curious, who the fuck is setting these standards?
It has more to do with Robinson than Farage. Farage helped politically to grow the fascist movement in the UK, but these events going on right now is because Robinson was charged under Britain's anti-terror laws for a film that he made in 2022, and he didn't show up for court. So then that escalated his charges because he didn't show up to the summons. And so they arrested him and basically was like, yeah, you're going to jail for terrorism, bro. So then he paid bail, fled the country, and then he sent his followers to start doing these things. And because Nigel is connected to the UK's Nazi movement, he then picked it up from there as well, because obviously for him it's a thing too. So because the average UK racist isn't going to identify with Robinson being arrested as a reason to riot, it's now pushed more into their agenda to begin with. So very soon you'll see the rhetoric probably evolve in the UK to be saying that they're letting in immigrants but expelling patriots. I imagine that would be the play to go with there. But it's also not located just to the UK. It's actually larger. Everything where you saw the Europa movement, it's remnants from all that shit. We'll get to it. There's a lot of stuff on it, but I think a lot of the reporting has been atrocious because nobody's talking about, if you watched us last week, I literally brought it up and showed that he was just arrested and how funny it was that Cage was talking about it.
From 10 years ago, but told us they were disturbed by the confession.
It's shocking. It's very unpresidential and really just disgusting. I don't really understand why someone would do that.
That's unpresidential. It's not even the body dumping that I think is the worst part of it. His cover is worse.
I disagree.
What, you think the dumping is the worst part, not the I pick up roadkill to eat part?
No, I think the fact that he killed a baby bear then dumped it is pretty fucking crazy.
Well, he killed it for meat, I guess, right?
Do you really believe his story?
Well, there's more to it. I tried to stay as ignorant as I could. There's more to it.
This is my prediction. Is he shot the bear, didn't realize it was a cub, took it anyway, dumped it, got away with it, and then for some fucking reason,
No,
it's just
so-
like, oh yeah, you know what I did one day?
No, he's getting ahead of a story. He got a fucking insider from the paper that's doing the story leaked to say that the story was coming. So he's getting out ahead of it. You know, like how John Kiriakou knew that he was going to be burned by the CIA and tried to act like he's the whistleblower for the torture program. And now exclusively works for networks like Sputnik, which it makes sense because who's going to fucking hire him in the US, right? For his like, you know, like the man has to make a living, but like, you sure you weren't a Russian agent back then? And that's why you got ousted by the CIA starting this, you know, very sus. And like, you've never been good for information.
Just a disaster.
Kennedy shared his story with Roseanne Barr on social media after he claimed a fact checker from The New Yorker called him to verify what had happened. He says he and some friends.
The New Yorker. Okay.
Who had been drinking came up with the idea as a prank.
I had an old bike in my car that somebody asked me to get rid of it. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike.
Kennedy says he never thought his actions would generate such a media frenzy.
Because Roseanne is a weirdo.
Why are they laughing?
He says he expects the New Yorker article published on Monday to be damaging. In Central Park, Christina Fan, CBS News, New York.
He was never going to win.
So RFK Jr.
anyway, right? There was no way he was winning anyway, right? None of this is bad for him. Nobody knew who he fucking was before he did this shit.
Exactly.
Somebody take his skinny ties away, please.
And up in Goshen, New York, up in Hudson Valley. And I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7. And that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear. And it was very good condition. And I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. And you can do that in New York State. You can get a bear tag for a roadkill bear. And at the end of the dinner, it went late. And I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car. And I didn't want to leave the bear in the car. Because that would have been bad. But I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. fun for people.
Before you were just like, oh, this is too rotted, dump.
No,
in
so
Central
hang on.
Fucking park.
He's talking about we did it because we thought it would be funny to people.
Weird.
Oh, everybody thought that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something. The New Yorker somehow found out about it, and they're going to do a big article on me, and that's one of the articles. So they asked me, the fact checker said, it's going to be a bad story.
I want to hear Roseanne's response.
I think it's a great story.
It was a mystery that dominated news headlines.
Weird.
So RFK Jr., as you all know, is a trip, man. This guy is out there, dog. My favorite RFK moment from this election season is when he was on a podcast and he was accused of being on Epstein's jet. And he was like, of course I was on Epstein's jet. I mean, look, man, I've hung out with
that they arrested
Bill
Robinson
Cosby
under, right? Like, it's just showing the UK government made the right call. Like, regardless of, like, as an American, there's the whole, like, free speech issue right here, where you wouldn't have these type of laws that you do have in Europe. But, like, then there, like, I think of the Quran burning that was affiliated with the NATO expansion, that they literally had the same guy in 2 different countries burn the Quran to rile Muslims up. And then, like, embassies of these countries were hit in other countries in the Middle East. Like, the far right is so easily activated by anything in Europe. So like all the writing in the UK is ultimately fucking their cause because it's going to result in more anti-terror laws that are going to specifically target Nazis.
Yeah. And it's also going to make more people realize that these people are psychopaths and don't want them in their country.
Well,
or
that's
their
the thing
government.
is like even because of social media, like if you're offline, you're probably looking at it repulsed because you've spent years being conditioned by the Black Lives Matter riots being awful, right? Fight your bad. So any normie is looking at this, and the news is going to be. We'll have to look at Fox News, see what they say, right?
Yep.
It's going to say that they were suspected of being migrants, but they were from Wells, and they link it to the murder. And they won't mention, because nobody's mentioned, that it starts with a fucking fascist leader being arrested.
And Harvey Weinstein and whatever, Roman Polanski, I don't know, just like name 17 fucking famous predators. And he's like, look, they were those, I was with those guys all the time growing up, like all the celebrities and stuff. It's so funny when you're accused of having these like terrible connections. You're like, it's even worse than you think, bro. Oh, God. You know, it's funny because the weird label works so well for Republicans, but look, you got to keep it real. It might fit even better for RFK Jr., man. It might fit even better for RFK Jr.
He's beyond
then, of course,
weird.
There was that story about the brain worm. Remember? He admitted
yes,
he had
Kyle,
a brain
we all
worm.
know this.
Which just opened up a torrent of political attacks. So anyway, he apparently was hanging out with Roseanne Barr, which, by the way, that is the reddest of red flags I've ever seen in my life. That's like fill a room with red flags, and that's not enough red flags to denote how red flaggy this red flagness is.
Oh, my God. I hate Kyle
So he's hanging out with
much.
Roseanne Barr, the ultimate conspiracy theorist. And he thinks this is him trying to get ahead of a story that the New Yorker runs. And apparently he knew they got information on a scandal involving him. He wanted to get out ahead of it. So he records this video and releases it. And there's so many funny parts.
He released it on his
let's
own
watch,
social
and we'll break it
media.
down further. And I read the entire article, and I'll walk you through that too. The New York Post article. I'll give you a summary of it. But I don't know what the fuck he's thinking here, bro. I do not know what he's thinking here. Here we go.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley. And I was supposed to meet them there, like maybe 8 or 9. You can do
roadkill bear. I have to interject already because, like, you found a roadkill bear, and your instinct was, I should skin this and eat this.
Thank you, Kyle. Normal take.
Well, gee, I wonder how you got a literal brain worm, dude. On the list of shit to not eat, roadkill bear has to be near the very top. What are you doing? Just cruising around looking for random roadkill to eat? What the fuck? All right, let's continue. Even Roseanne's face. Look at her face. Roseanne's face is like, bro, what the fuck are you babbling about, dog? Like, where's this story going? Look, Roseanne even thinks you're a freak, bro.
For a roadkill bear. And so then we went hawking, and I had the bear in my car. And then we had a really good day, and we went late. We were catching a lot of game, and the people really loved it. So we stayed late. And instead of going back to my home in Westchester, I had to go right to the city because there was a dinner at Peter Luger's Steakhouse. And at the end of the dinner, it went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car, and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car.
Okay, I just thought of another hole in the story.
So then I thought, at that time, this was a little bit of the redneck in me. There'd been a series of bicycle accidents in New York. They had just put in the bike lanes, and saw a couple of people got killed, and it was
gone.
So he knew he had to fly out, and he spent the whole day falconing, and he knew that he was going to then have a dinner. How late can a dinner go where you can't go home and skin and totally process a bear, right? That's like an all-day activity. Like, what do you mean it ran late? Like, I just needed an hour to go home to Westchester and then back to JFK Airport? Like, how late is this dinner? Did it last 12 hours? 6 a.m. Oh, fuck. I've been sitting here chatting too long since my dinner last night.
Okay, so Westchester is
it's right outside New York
State.
City.
Right, so it's going into New York State.
Yeah.
And then RFK.
Westchester is still New York City to me.
JFK Airport is
inside the city itself.
I'm just getting a picture.
Mm-hmm. I'm just letting you know.
Yep.
Westchester is, like,
okay, so it's on Long Island. Look, it's not out of the possibility.
Bro,
again, I don't know how New York traffic is.
Westchester to Long Island is at least an hour. Just like on the bridge to enter the city is 30 minutes. Just to get over the bridge to cut through the city.
Yes, because you would need
But you also need to process a bear.
Yes.
Like, how much time does it take to process a bear? Like, this story does not add up. He didn't think.
Depends how efficient he is at skinning the animal, I guess.
Every day, and people have been badly injured. Every day it was in the press. And so I thought, I wasn't drinking, of course, but people were drinking with me who thought this was a good idea. And I said, I had an old bike in my car that somebody asked me to get rid of. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people. So everybody.
Okay, look, I didn't hear the bike bit. That is pretty funny. But also, not like, this is not the...
Who's going to think, haha, it's like he got hit by a bike?
Yeah, exactly, right? The first thing you're going to think is, oh, there's a dead bear here. What the fuck? Right? You're not going to even notice the bike. So sure, it's funny for you guys. It's a funny joke. The actual execution of it, the fact that you dumped a bear's body in Central Park is fucking crazy.
We thought that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something. The next day, it was like, it was on every television station. It was the front page of every paper.
Also, the reason that it's not like, oh, it's roadkill is not like a very off-putting thing for me is because he literally says that they just hit it. Fresh dead. Right? Sure, it's technically roadkill, but it's not like it's been rotting on the ground.
And like he
being
said,
driven over all day.
You can't get a tag for roadkill bears in this state.
Yeah. So like it's
also,
that's
like,
why it's also it's not
also,
like the biggest
Westchester,
thing.
there is like camping and like hunting grounds over there. It's like just enough outside of the city that there is some of that stuff there.
There's enough wilderness.
Yeah. But it's still like part of greater New York City, just like Yonkers.
Yeah.
And I turned on the TV and there was like a mile of yellow tape and there were 20 cop cars. There were helicopters flying over it. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And then there was some people on TV in tie-back suits with gloves on lifting up the bike. And they're saying they're going to take this up to Albany to get a fingerprinted. And I was worried because my prints were all over that bike. Luckily, the story died down after a while, and it stayed dead for a decade. And the New Yorker somehow found out about it, and they're going to do a big article on me, and that's one of the articles.
What the fuck? I just looked up Yonkers and Westchester. Same thing. Is Yonkers just a suburb?
Yonkers is next to Westchester.
It says it's the same thing.
It's Well, Yonkers is Eastchester.
Ah.
So Westchester is technically New Jersey.
Okay. It's saying county. That's why.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about the county of Westchester?
Yeah, it's across the Hudson. The west of the Hudson is Westchester, New York. It's the New Jersey of New York.
Oh, it's that. Okay. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
New York talk.
They asked me, the fact checker said, it's going to be a bad story.
I think it's great.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I ended up searching was Westchester County, and Yonkers is in that. That's what I was confused about. Because Americans don't do suburbs.
We do.
It's like apparently not. It's counties.
We have both.
I love this tweet. This is like one of
pick one.
My favorite tweets of all time. So RFK says, "Looking forward to see how you spin this one."
Are the counties electorate?
Yes.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
We just call them electorates.
Yeah, so like the county, the county is the local government, but then there's also like mayors of cities as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. All right, that makes sense. All right, I'm caught up.
New Yorker. They ain't got to spin Dickie McGee's axe, homie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if like Yonkers is like, I would assume Yonkers is its own county. I don't know. I haven't looked that hard into it, you know.
That shit is bad enough with just a dry ass retelling of it.
The only thing I know about Yonkers is it's a Tyler the Creator song.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people are from there. It's basically New York City, you know.
Yeah.
How you
isn't Harlem up that side of the city as well?
No,
it's a bit further down.
No.
Okay, South Bronx. Okay, so the Bronx, East. Oh, so the Bronx basically goes up to it.
Yeah.
Interesting. New York is an interesting place.
Spin this one. People all over Twitter are like, who among us hasn't been driving in a car, come across a dead bear, put the dead bear in your trunk to skin it and eat it, then keep it in there too long, then realize, hey, we should play a prank and dump it in Central Park with a bike to make it look like an accident.
You know, that's some Westchester, New Jersey shit. That's New Jersey shit.
Like, what the fuck? Bro, what the fuck? What the fuck? So now, as I told you guys, I read the entire New Yorker article. What's kind of funny is that you can read it yourself and you could judge it yourself. But honestly, my impression of the article is it's just sort of like a dry retelling of his life, right? It just goes through his life. And it doesn't, I mean...
Okay.
Well, I am very disappointed that a plea deal was given to...
Okay, this is ordered awfully.
Maybe the 9/11 family should go fuck themselves.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well then also New York City also has the boroughs of the city.
Back to the breaking news involving
5 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Involving the alleged 9/11.
Westchester is New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Yonkers is New York City. I don't want to hear it. Like Yonkers is like northern Bronx, you know? Like get out of my face. Like a dude, if you're from White Plains, you live in New York City.
Headline: the accused mastermind of the 9/11.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?